guys, this is Meet the Turners vlog channel. So today we are going to talk about relationships and arguments. Arguments happen. It's natural. I don't think any relationship can go the test of time and not have any type of disagreement. The key is how you resolve it. So what prompted Aaron and I to do this video is we just had an altercation. We just had a situation at the Starbucks over labels.
It went down.
So we both like peppermint mochas, but because of my surgery right now, I can't consume a lot of sugar. So he got a regular grande peppermint mocha, and I got a skinny grande peppermint mocha. So when our order came, I said check the label, see which one is which. He didn't check his label. He says he didn't see the label.
I didn't see a label on it.
He said he didn't see it. Label is there. Starbucks always put a label. So we go over to the little stand where you can add sugar, but we like to stir our peppermint mocha up to make sure all the little goodness at the bottom is all mixed in well. So then he says, well, did you taste it to see which one is which? I said, no, I checked the label. He slightly raised his voice, and that's when it started. I didn't see no, I said, look, okay, I didn't say nothing in the Starbucks. When we got back to the car, it went down for about a good 2-3 minutes. So, we good now. It didn't take long. He said what he said. I said what I said. And then it was done. And I really think that's the key to a healthy relationship. What do you think?
Well, I think in our relationship, if you agree with me all the time, it will go much smoother.
It's about to go down again.
But real talk. Yeah, just like you say, well, you're gonna always argue or whatever. I'm one not to drag things on. Each party say what they gotta say, and be done with it. And one thing too, what I've learned, sometimes you may not resolve the problem then, but to go back and forth, well, this is my theory with the go back and forth, and from personal experience, everything. When you keep on going back and forth, I think things gonna get out of hand, and then stuff gonna be said or done that you may regret doing. Don't get me wrong. Some things do need a whole argument, but there's, like you say, something simple as labels. Nah, they're just, is what it is. And my issue with that, it goes on to a personal issue with me. If I didn't see it, I didn't see it. So, when we go back again with that, okay, I either didn't see it or something, and I get on defensive when, I guess it's how it was said. And, I have a problem with how I express myself as well, and that's something I always continue to work on because I got it from my upbringing. I'm going to just put it out there. But, it's more so of, almost like you I still struggle with you making me feel dumb. If I didn't see it, I didn't see it. You might not know where exactly it's at, but I didn't see it. So that's when the defense thing go in. So
yeah, and I would tell you what I have. I have an issue with. I like to throw digs when I argue. So when he said, if I didn't see a label, I didn't see a label. I said, oh, you didn't see the label, Mr. Starbucks? You go every day. They put a label on the cup every day. I like to dig. So that is my issue. And so that's where the argument it escalates.
Well, I don't even care nothing about that. I could care less if somebody trying to dig at me and stuff. That's not my issue with that. my issue more of I guess in a sense kind of making me look stupid. I mean, it's a personal thing, because and it just ain't me, just in general. Sometimes you gotta give people the benefit of the doubt, especially like when you like a leader, a boss, a training. You gotta teach people. You gotta teach people from the ground up, and you could have saw this, and I didn't. I mean, talking about labels or anything, but just I have an issue of just making a person, feel, I guess, inadequate because they didn't see it.
And I can understand that. But that wasn't my goal. When you asked me, well, have you tasted it yet? And I said, no, I didn't need to. I checked the label.
And the reason I asked that was because, I wasn't sure, like, you sure this is mine type deal.
Right.
So that goes again, like, hey, sweetie, I saw the label. Just kind of smooth on out.
Right.
So, that's,
And this is one of our more sillier arguments. Don't get me wrong. We've had some serious ones too. It's just that this one just happened. Like, literally just happened. And Starbucks was packed. So we decided to come back out to the car and drink our coffee. And decided to vlog about it. Because it's something that's common. And then you have a lot of people that will carry an argument on no matter how big or how small for days. It's not that serious.
Yeah, and then too, we you see us doing the food reviews and everything, and everything is so, I guess quote unquote good, but we starting this so people can see the other side of relationships, and not to put all business out there, but every relationship, go through different things. Of course, they go through stuff bigger than labels, know. And you see them couples who married for 50, 60 years and stuff, grandparents, and my grandparents actually have been married, or was married for like 60 some years, and I think my parents 50 odd years and stuff. So, and people go through arguments and trials and stuff, and I think this day and time in 2019, we embarked on 2020, that not only the institution of marriage, but the institution of relationships, not where they used to be, and that's not only personal, just business, business relationships, just when you go through that one or two little things, you want to dissolve, just call it quits, and my thing, what I've learned is that you have to, see if, you got to look at the outside looking in, and okay, is this really worth it, or is the person worth it? Do I really love the person? And that could be tricky too. You can love the person, but that person may not be the one for you too. That could happen too. So you gotta.
Compatibility is key.
Yeah.
You gotta be compatible with somebody. Off subject, but you gotta be compatible with more than just sex. That's it. You know what I'm saying? But back on subject. It's my belief, in my opinion, that arguments, not fights, not no knockdown, drag out, fist throwing fights, but some arguments, heavy debates are actually healthy. I don't think it's healthy to keep it bottled in and not say anything, because I think that's where resentment starts to build up, and then you end up hating each other. But I do think it's healthy to, if it's something you don't like, it's something you upset about, if it's something that person said or did that you felt disrespected, or you just didn't like, or it hurt your feelings, to discuss it and let them know and say, hey, I didn't like that. Don't do that again. And if that person loves you, then they're going to do everything in their power to correct themselves, to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So I don't think arguments are completely bad. It happens, in every relationship.
Yeah. Human nature, you're gonna have disagreements, and the thing about that too is, Nikki touched on the compatibility, and to me, I go to kind of like the old school thing of a friend. I mean, she's my best friend. And I think you have to be friends. And when I say friend, she talked about the sex portion, but able to, I guess, hang out with your significant other, and also have space too. You gotta have that space apart. You gotta y'all. My thing is, you have your different lives and stuff, and you come back because you appreciate each other more. You see some couples may be together too much, and I don't like to be all up on people, and I definitely don't like people be all up on me, and I think that's the Capricorn in me. Capricorn, we're loners, and
yeah, but some people, like, the working relationship works for them. Like David and Tamala Mann is a really good example.
Yeah, but you gotta look at it on the other side, and then what do we have on the other end? We look at that part, and we have the work relationship, but look at the other part. I mean, this is me personally. It's just like, you getting them every day, seeing them pretty 24/7.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying.
And it's so funny. I think in my first apartment, it was this couple. They're a couple years older than me, and they live across the street from me. I should see them. Apparently, they rode to work together, and I don't think they worked together, but they rode to work together, came home together. They might have, dropped one off or whatever. And I should see them every day, and I'm like, man, so when they got the time? That's what, that's a lot of time. That's a lot. I love you, but that's a lot of time
some people
together.
Like that though. They just.
But
are.
I mean, to each his own. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm just saying, me personally, it just.
We tap on each other's nerves too bad.
Yeah. And then I think mine's going to being a twin too, because you guys don't know I'm a twin, and a lot of twins like to be together forever, and me and my twin, we never got to be an individual till we lived in separate states and as adults, and we have separate lives, separate families, and lives, and when we talk, we can talk about each other's lives as opposed to just together, just forever, ain't nothing to talk about. So I think that's the part with me personally, just like, hey, I was with you for 9 months, but I ain't gotta be with you for the rest of my life, and saying, but I think people need that space, I really do. I think it's healthy,
Yeah, I do.
Me personally.
I think it's healthy. I really do. But back to arguments.
Mm-hmm.
Look, don't think it's anything wrong with them. They happen. Even the most loving couple that you see, trust me, they didn't got into it.
Mm-hmm.
Believe that. Don't believe the hype. They didn't got into it. And a lot of times, Aaron and I get into it 2 seconds before we cut the camera on.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, she be so slow. That's one of my pet peeves.
No, you're impatient. You're
slow.
Impatient. Yeah, you are.
Everything, you gotta.
I'm not slow. You're impatient.
Everything's slow.
You're impatient.
No, but that goes to
we about to get into it again.
But see, that goes to another thing too. It's like you got to take all of your significant other. A lot of people want to put this perfect person. That they got to be 100%. And those are things that pluck on my nerves. But I love her to death. But it's like, I know I have to. Okay, if she gonna roll with me, I know I gotta sit aside another 25, 30 minutes till she get going. And it just, but that is what I deal with. But I would deal with that compared to major stuff. I know she got my back. I know she loved me. So I mean,
absolutely.
I'm not gonna walk away because she's slow. So just. But my point is to that. You gotta take the good and the bad with people. You do. We do.
Yeah. So we ain't gonna chew your ear off. We just wanted to touch quickly on arguments in relationships.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so we gonna
they're gonna happen and
my business. I'm all over there.
Yeah, they're gonna happen and they are healthy. They are healthy and again she said, about don't disrespect your significant other or partner. Sometimes you might say things and stuff, but come back, apologize and everything and we definitely don't linger some stuff on. We might have a cool down moment, it might be a few hours, might be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, some of our bigger arguments, and then we just kind of like, hey,
we good.
We good, and again, keep in mind, sometimes, you may not resolve that. You may not resolve it, and,
well, agree
completely.
To disagree?
Huh?
What you mean, agree to disagree?
That, and you may not resolve it at that point.
Right, okay.
Because, you still maybe got to think about, what was said and, whatever and stuff. But, it's like, I think one old song, they say, love the one you with or whatever. And you got to love the one you with, they take the good with the bad, and then with the bad, it's like, you got to decide whether, you going, is it worth it? That person worth it and stuff. But, I think now, especially more than ever in this day and age, we seek that, trying to seek that 100% person, whether, they look good, the sex, the money, and all this type of stuff. And all of them things can go away. All them things go away. And what I saw years ago, I saw, one of my aunts, on, when my uncle was on his deathbed, and I went to visit him for one of the last times and saw her holding his hand, and then that's when I really thought, this is years ago, and I thought, about how strong love is, and when they say, do death do us part, and are we really, do we really, the people we with, are we really death do us part, or whatever the saying is,
Right.
Are we gonna be there, or when things happen, are we gonna be in the club somewhere, out with the friends or whatever? But that's the part that I think went away, in the new age and stuff, and we, when people might be on a temporary thing, job, money, or whatever, sometimes them things gonna happen, but you got to stick in there, stick in there. And then, but these arguments, arguments can be healthy, but just to finalize all of that, just make sure that you respect your significant other, and sometimes you may not agree on things, and it's like Nikki say, sometimes it just you just may not agree on things, and just leave it alone. And move on. Move on.
That's what it is. Well, let's go ahead on in this video.
Okay. So do I get a kiss? I know you still may be mad at me.
No, give me a kiss, labels.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, guys. Well, that's our vlog on relationships. Until next time. Bye.
See ya.